What's up, guys? It's Aaron here. I'm going to go up to Edinburgh Fringe in August for my first show, and I can't wait. But before I do that, I need to preview the show up and down the country. So I've added a bunch of work in progress dates. Manchester's already on sale. Some of the others might be as well by the time this goes out. All the links are going to be in the description. Liam's going to join me for some of them. It's dead small rooms, dead cheap tickets. It's going to be loads of fun. Come down, let's have a laugh. I'll see you there.
I'm like Elmo in the bedroom, Tickles only. Oh, they're not disabled. They just hate me.
This episode's brought to you by the North Korean Tourism Board.
Like, you couldn't waterboard that information out of me. Whole time.
It's gonna be me new dad. Absolute worst experience of my life, and I've watched my mum die.
Oh, just really threw that one in the air. No, I've been doing like 2 meals and 1 snack a day is how I roll now.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm kind of like that.
I kind of eat like a banana sometimes for breakfast. Like I did have bacon. All I've had today is 1 bacon roll. That was it.
You sound like you should have about 4.
Yeah,
just a 1 bacon roll as opposed to my usual 6.
I'm not trying to be
tiny though.
Not trying to be a stereotype, but my life genuinely does revolve around the meals I'm having. Like genuinely, like I put lots of thought into it. I plan the food shop.
Like for the next day.
That's
for
one
like
of the things
week. I'm like.
So do you know what you're having for lunch tomorrow?
Well, I don't. I'm going away. That's the only reason I don't know what I'm having. You know.
But that's one of the worst things about being an adult. I think. Like every day, you've got to think about what you're going to eat.
No, that's why
you've got to plan the meals and stuff. And I fucking hate it, man. Like Beth's doing a shop later because like we've run out of food, and she's like, "What do you want to say?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I don't care."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, why is this a thing where we have to every single day? This is now a fucking task that we have to solve.
My girlfriend asked me what I want for dinner all the time because I'm fussy and she just doesn't care. But then I hate the pressure.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, but this is your funeral because you're going to get meat and 3 veg every night because I'm a child. And I like chicken.
Are you really fussy? Yeah, he's the same.
Yeah.
Like beige meals and stuff like that.
It's really pathetic.
Yeah. Like, although... yeah, but I like boring Australian food. You guys just eat. I love it here because you guys only know boring food. Like,
hey, we got culture.
They're proud.
we don't really.
Our culture is just
but
your
Brexit's trying to get
culture.
rid of that.
We rob everyone else's culture.
Yeah.
Our best restaurants.
Australia's
are from
just 50% British and 50% American culture, and we've tried to make our own. And then at the end, we've got Tim Tams, and that's it.
Like, it's not culture; it's colonialism. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Oh man, I did a show last night. Obviously, I went to see your tour show.
Yes,
it was great.
Thank
and then
you.
I went to a gig just around the corner, and a woman started booing at me while I was on stage.
Oh, perfect.
First time.
I had four guys walk out on the early show in Manchester.
Oh, last night.
Yeah.
Really?
No, not last night. Not the one you were there. The one before.
Right.
The night before that.
Walk out.
That's the one you were saying they were all really hungover, right?
Yeah, and these guys from like the wheelchair. So Evan, who runs the room, told me
How
like
did they walk out?
well, that's what This is so. So this whole thing was confusing to me.
That's how good his stand-up is. He's good.
He's like, some guys from the. Yeah, I made some guys walk again. That's how much they hated it. They were like,
"You're the Jesus of the stand-up world."
Yeah. They were like, "Oh, these guys from this wheelchair." Like, they just knew Evan, right? They didn't know who I was.
Right.
And then they were like, "Oh, this guy brought his drunk friends in," and they were like hammered. Like they'd been drinking since like midday. You could tell. And he said something about, I think Evan accidentally said the Special Olympics instead of Paralympics to me. So I heard some talking and, let's be honest, grunting at the back. I was like, I heard at the back. So I press it again so we can clip it. I'm cancelled. I didn't say anything because I was like, I'm not gonna like make fun of some disabled person, right? So I let it go for like 10 minutes, but people were kind of leaning around, going like, "Shut up!" and like people getting annoyed in the room. 10 minutes in, these guys just walk out, and then I go, "Oh, you guys leaving?" Again, I still think they're disabled. Turns out then, I think that some of them might be physically disabled, but they're not. You know, they were just drunk and rude, right? And
what's the difference though these days?
So I go, "Are you guys leaving?" And then one goes, "Yeah, this is a wank, ain't it?" And then just walked out, and I was like, "Oh, they're not disabled, they just hate me."
I got this image of you being like super nice and overly friendly, like, "Have a good night."
No, and then as soon as I realized, I turned real quick.
I'm really worried that I'm going to find that out about my mum pretty soon. Like, not disabled just hates me. Just not Just not bothered.
It was probably the first time I've ever had anyone walk out of a show. And it rattled me for like 15 seconds until I realized that they were just like 40-year-old British men that I'll never see again. Then I was like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Last night, we thought 2 people were leaving your show. Like,
right.
So there's a couple at the back, and they just got up and started walking out, and like Evan opened the door for them and like looked at Jess and was like, "Oh, there's fucking like 10 minutes left. That's weird." And then they both came back. They just both gone to the toilet at the same time, which is insane. I think.
Yeah,
that's so weird.
People get scared though. They're like, literally, don't leave me. They think they're just gonna be.
That's
like
what I think. I reckon they thought they were stronger as a group. They were like, all right, you get up
like
in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. A pack of hyenas.
Well, because in one of the shows, a girl got up, and I hate it when comedians like give someone shit for going to the toilet. It sucks. Just let people pee, man. As someone who's inherited my mum's bladder, I feel for them. All right. And this girl just blatantly tripped over in the second row as she was going. Everyone turned around and she froze like that. And she looked at me and I looked at her and I was like, I don't want to be that guy, but I have to acknowledge this. Right? And I think they'd already seen that or something. Was that at that show? I forget.
Wouldn't it have been better though if she just froze and just started pissing her pants? Like there and then.
Like, how did you think this was the better option of the two?
Yes.
But yeah, so I was doing the show and this... so I was doing new stuff, brand new stuff, and I always like at the top of the set to just be like announce that it's new stuff, and I want you guys to be honest with me. Like if it's really shit, let me know. And it just sort of breaks the ice a little bit, and I make a couple of jokes, and we all have a laugh, right? And I started moving on, and I've started writing this bit about city breaks. This is going out before. Like we've recorded an episode that's going to go out in a couple of weeks, but this one's going to go out first. I'd basically been to Barcelona, I just didn't really enjoy it, and so I'm writing a new bit about city breaks, and I started talking about it. I just mentioned city breaks. It just starts booing, just going boo, boo. I was like,
wait, what city breaks?
Just like going to like it's like I feel.
Of course, these fucking countries enormous. Yeah, it's just like so we'll just go to like Spain, France, Venice.
As in to have
like
a break from the city.
No, it's like you're going just to a city in like Europe for a couple of days. It's not like a full holiday, but like a weekend.
You're
away.
going on a break.
We call them a city break.
Right.
Yeah. How posh does that sound, though?
So it's just a short holiday.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, in a city.
I think it was like a department store called City Breaks.
It's very British, though, the concept of a holiday to just go somewhere abroad where it's hot and just sit and do fucking nothing.
Because it's like 30 quid for a flight here.
Yeah.
It's wild.
But a city break's like when you're getting a cheap flight and you're actually fucking on the go non-stop.
Yeah. I've got beef with them, but it's by the by. It's all in next week's episode, so it doesn't matter. But she just starts booing, just going boo, boo, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And she was like, "You said you wanted feedback on on your jokes, and I don't like this joke." I was like, "Right, but you're booing the setup to the joke." Like we've not done the joke yet.
Yeah.
and that's I guess a good reaction. I give her a bit of grief. And I was just sort of like, what? That's so fucking, like, to just sit there and start booing, though. He's like, so, because, like, when I said I wanted feedback, like, I do that every time I do new stuff, I will do this, like, 1-2 minute line about how I want feedback. Never has someone done that before. Yeah. So I started talking to her a little bit, and it was all going fine. And I said, who are you here with? And I'd give her a bit of grief and stuff, and she was a good sport and stuff like that. But she goes, oh, I'm here with my mum and dad. And I said, oh, you're here with your dad? And he just went, yeah, you cunt. And I went,
after you just ripped
Yeah. Because I told him I'd batter his daughter, to be fair. I don't think I'd have been able to either. I don't think that was within my power. Do you know what I mean? But he goes, yeah, you cunt. And he like stands up to front me. And then the second he does that, he just goes, well, he messes. She has it coming. And just like fucking did a full 180. It was like, she's a pain in the ass. And then I said to her, I was like, what have you been doing today? Because like the point of I'd got as far into the bit as saying like, all city breaks are just following your girlfriend around, taking pictures of her in front of fucking shit, like monuments that you don't care about.
True.
It's so true, right? Yeah. That's as far as I'd got into the bit when she started booing. And I said, what have you been doing today? And he was like, oh, we just sort of been going around Manchester and stuff, having a few drinks and stuff. And yeah, just sort of seeing Manchester a bit. And I was like, what, the exact thing that I'm fucking... You've just been following her around, taking photos of her in front of fucking everything today. And now you're here booing the joke that I'm making about your very situation. Wow, I hate you guys.
Maybe she felt personally attacked.
Yeah, which is insane. Yeah. So yeah, I got booed. That was fun.
But I mean, you did ask for the feedback in her mind. She was helping.
Well, that's sort of what I was... I got him off and I was like, I can't be mad at this.
No, but never have I ever seen someone give such direct, immediate feedback on a premise.
Yeah. I got as far as city breaks. It's just...
Boom! Like pantomime.
Like, I'd totally get it if I was 8 minutes in and it just wasn't hitting. I'd get it then. Do you know what I mean? But I just like well, how quick did you want the jokes to arrive? I'd been on stage for 11 seconds. Like, oh man, it's heavy. But
Maybe she
anyway.
just hates Barcelona.
Maybe. I don't even think I'd mentioned Barcelona at that point. That's how
Never
we were.
I'm trying to justify her shitty behavior.
Yeah, maybe she's racist.
Having seen you do stand-up, Aaron, I can see why she booed. Have you found the UK though? You've been here a couple of weeks now.
I love
it's
it.
Very exciting.
It's great. London, we were in London for a couple of days just when we got here, but then we did our first shows up north in Scotland, and I know they're weird. Actually,
Where
you
in
know what's funny?
Scotland, though?
You guys don't give a shit. Like, you guys are like, yeah, sure, they're part of the UK. They're very like, no, we're Scotland. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, technically, on paper, you lost the war.
That
once.
colonialism we were talking about.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know about your history, but all I know is you're not happy about it, and you all just sound like Shrek to me, and that's funny. So that's
As someone that's going to the Edinburgh Fringe in August, I just want to point out that these are Luke's views. They don't reflect my own.
No, I
very
loved
much
it.
your own country, and I don't.
no, they were great. They were like the best crowds I've ever had. But I just accidentally said like, oh, I'm loving the UK so much, and they were like, well, you're in Scotland.
Yeah.
No, that's not true.
Yeah,
They're like,
they
you're
are
in
very much
Scotland,
like
man. I actually don't know how to do their accent.
Every time you do an impression of someone that's English, Scottish, Irish, it's all the
It's
exact
just the
same
same.
person.
I
I thought the
just-
last one was Dutch.
Yeah, but this is why people are getting so angry at me because I'm just looping you. I'm just grouping you all in together.
Of course you would, though.
Yeah, it's
of course
I
like
mean, Australia's got one accent, and it's like 10,000 miles long. So
yeah.
Does it actually have one accent? Or is that just our...
Yeah, people in South Australia say dance. We say dance, and they say dance.
Okay.
In a quite a British way.
Yeah.
And that's it.
the fact that that's the talking point says everything you need to know. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, actually, we have that one. What is it? Oh, dance. Yeah,
Yeah,
we have
one
dance,
And
Yeah.
dance,
people
yeah,
from
yeah.
New Zealand, it's like it's obviously a different country, but it's the same shit. Again, like they would get annoyed at being grouped into us,
Yeah.
but we claim they're famous people. Like Russell Crowe is from New Zealand, not Australia.
Oh, really?
But we claim him. Of
Yeah?
course,
I
it's the
thought he
same
was an
country.
Aussie.
It's,
To be honest, I don't know who he is.
oh, he's the guy from Gladiator.
Russell Crowe?
Oh, yeah, I've never seen it.
No.
No.
I think
it's not like a film.
It's difficult though, isn't it?
Hey,
Because
man,
like
it's really hard to name a famous Australian.
yeah,
He was
That's
the one.
Luke
Kidgell,
all we
we've
have.
got him. We found him. This is it. This is the only one.
Kylie Minogue moved here. So we lost our only one.
It's tough though, isn't it? Because like it's easy for you to go, oh, this guy from New Zealand, we're just going to claim him. He's Australian because they do sound so similar. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, they say things like we think they sound funny. Like my whole tour there, I was just mocking their accent.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they know.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, they talk like this. They're like, hey, bro. It's great.
Whenever we like get like comics come over and like they're from New Zealand, everyone just assumes it's Australian and they get so heated about it.
Yes.
It's kind of like the Scottish thing that you were
Literally.
talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
But like it's so obvious that a Scottish person isn't British. Do you know what I mean? Like it sounds so dissimilar that
yeah, they sound way different.
yeah. For
I
sure.
had I don't know if you saw it, some comments on one of our videos about my accent. Lad, there's people who were like, they must be American or something, commenting saying, swear down, I close my eyes and I hear a UFC fighter. Oh my God, I thought this was Paddy the Baddy until I opened my eyes. Comparing me, a wolf from Wallasey,
Where's
What
he
gave
from?
you away?
to Paddy the Baddy, the fucking scouser.
Let me-
Look
let
at
me-
me as well, yeah.
Let me show you who Paddy the Baddy
Do you know
is
who
right
Paddy the
now.
Baddy
Yeah, is he the guy who always like trims down and then eats after?
Yeah. So you know who he
Yeah.
looks like
I
already.
still
Yeah.
odd thing to know him for, though. Obviously, I know him because he's
No, but
local to me, but that's
I don't
funny that
really
that's the
follow-
characteristic.
I like, as someone who doesn't really deeply follow UFC, I
Same.
just know like the guys who are like characters outside the sport, like an Conor McGregor, like the guy who wears the Russian hat.
Khabib. Yeah,
Khabib,
he doesn't
yeah.
fight.
I know like the ones who like have a thing going on outside. To me, like they're just like WWE wrestlers where they need a story arc for me to give a shit.
Yeah.
It's true though; they are like the biggest names that stretch the furthest, aren't
Well,
they?
you
when
got
they
it
have,
to sell
like,
tickets now.
Yeah,
Because now that sport is around them to make themselves interesting.
Yeah.
Otherwise, no one pays for
There's
their
a fighter
fights.
named Colby Covington, and he's like he's a huge pro wrestling fan, and people are starting to see through it a little bit now. But his entire shtick is like just hating on everybody. Like he wears like a MAGA cap, and he's like talks about how he's going to make the division great again when he's champion and stuff like that. Like that's his whole.
He's a real life heel.
Yeah, it
exactly.
sounds
Yeah,
like-
that's
Yeah.
exactly what it is. But like every time like he fights, he's like he's talking so much shit to the guy he's about to fight, and then afterwards, like he'll go up to them and sort of be like, you know, we're just trying to sell the fight. Got loads of respect for you, blah blah blah. But then his opponent will sell him down the river with that. And I'm like, you're just not buying. Do you know what I mean? This is why you don't sell tickets. You're not buying into what he's doing. Why are you now giving away the game that he's fucking playing?
Yeah.
He's obviously come to you and gone, listen, everything I said, I still, you know what I mean? It's to sell tickets. And you've gone, oh, you know, he's only trying to sell tickets. It's like, that's why you don't sell any. You fucking idiot. You've just ruined you're taking everything I've worked for.
Yeah, you got to stay true to the character.
Are you a wrestling guy?
Only recently off like TikTok.
Oh, really?
So no, is the answer. Like, you know, as soon as Logan Paul entered the WWE, I was like, okay.
The world's changed.
I was like, okay.
Sat there with a bottle of Prime, like, woo!
I'll give it a crack.
Logan.
Yeah. No, it's just like one of those things where I didn't watch it as a kid. Like, you watch it like at your friend's house, but I wasn't like following it.
Yeah.
And now like our entire workplace has just gotten obsessed with it. Like on our lunch breaks, we sit there watching like 2004 WrestleMania. Like, just like, it's weird, man.
I watch it all the time though. It's like The Undertaker stalks Randy Orton. You're like, ooh, he's stalking him. But you like used to think it was so real, like he's just been lit on fire.
Dude,
like you just not.
My favorite match ever. We watched it one time after a show on tour. It was like Rey Mysterio and
Edge.
Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie Guerrero.
They fight for the kids' custody.
Yeah,
and the custody papers.
Custody of Dominic.
They have the custody papers over the ring, and there's a ladder. It's the funniest shit.
That's so funny.
And the kid is watching the fight while hugging the mother the whole time.
Who's gonna beat me, new dad?
And now the kid's in the WWE.
Really?
Yeah, isn't Rey Mysterio's kid in it?
Is it his real kid?
And he's like battered him as well.
Yeah, it's like he's real.
Yeah, it's real dad. And some guy, I'm going to be your dad now, lad. Watch this. Watch me smash your dad's head in.
Yeah, he's like, Dominic's like battered his own dad. Like, getting the custody of him was like the worst thing he could have done.
And like, there's one point where like Eddie Guerrero, who's like the baddie, I guess, reaches for the papers and he grabs it, and then like they like pull out the ladder and he's like hanging off like it's amazing. And as a kid, you're just like, who's gonna be his dad?
Yeah. I tell you what's horrible though. Like,
I can't believe that. I've seen like someone with like a snake arm and shit on clips.
Santino.
And I believe that. That is madness to me.
Yeah, like I tell you what's ridiculous though. Like, imagine like the real life version of that. Like, if it was me, like my dad and like my uncle, just both of them just sat on the ring floor. Like, I'm not getting it.
Why?
I don't want that.
Do you want to be his dad that much? Do you know what I mean? Why do you want him?
I'm not climbing a ladder. Fuck that.
Yeah, it felt like a violent match of Jerry Springer or something like
Jerry. I went to see like my brother was big into wrestling, and I went to go see like a WWE Raw or something.
See that cop out there that he just did? My brother likes it.
Come on, I'm quite open about how much of a nerdy gimp I am. Do you know what I mean? I've always loved like superhero stuff.
Well, my brother doesn't even like it, so I don't even have that.
But like I did go to a few like live shows with it, but I never really got it. So I was just going really just to be like a good big brother. It's like 6 year age
because you just saw like 40-year-old men with posters being like, what are you doing? You probably have kids. Do you ever see that? Like the ones who like pay the extra money to be ringside, and like something will happen, like they'll pretend to punch someone out, and then they're like 40-year-old men will be like, holy shit. And you're like, are you being paid to be?
Yeah.
It's great though.
There's a guy that he's become like famous because of how much he goes to all the shows. He's got like he's on Twitter. He's like Brock Lesnar guy, and he stands there in the exact same seat every single show. Like he follows the WWE around the world, and he'll wear the same t-shirt, and he's just there for every single event. I'm like, go home to your wife. You know what I mean? Like,
that's wild.
I mean, he may not have one if he's going to the WWE every weekend.
There was a Scouser, so there's like a Scouser went to like a WrestleMania event and held up a sign that said, Pete Price is a lizard, right? Which means nothing to you, but it's like a local thing. There's a radio DJ called Pete Price, and people just call him on his call-in show and just call him a lizard. It's just like, you're a lizard, Pete, and it's a very common thing in Liverpool, like Pete Price is a lizard. And just imagine that being that dedicated to the bit. You go to WrestleMania, you get those seats, you're one of those people, and you're holding a sign that says Pete Price is a lizard. I doubt
all the signs you could have made as well. Like, Rey Mysterio, can you shout out my son? He's like, nah, fucking put this one up instead. Fuck you, Pete Price. Like,
Pete Price.
I feel like that's what makes this country so great. Did you ever see that guy that rang up? It was like fucking The Right Stuff or something. And he'd be like, I just want to say that. What's her name?
That bitch Sharon Goodman.
Yeah. He's like, so they'll be debating like free school meals or something ridiculous.
Like
that.
primetime TV, terrestrial TV, not like digital or cable. And they're like, we'll say primetime, daytime. They're like debating topics. Call-ins.
So they'll be like, it's free school meals. Give us a ring, let us know what you think about it. So this guy will ring up and he'll be like, yeah, I just think that I've got kids myself, and I just don't think like we should have to pay for their school meals. I feel like it should be like they're 7 years old. It should just be a government sanctioned thing. And also, Sharon Goodman's a real bitch. And he just like, and you'll see the guy, the presenter go, oh no, it's him again. And he'll ring up every single day.
There's a compilation.
Off a different number. He's doing it like 100 times. And he just slags off his ex-wife. He rings up like, oh, by the way, she's a real bitch.
Dude, British humour is a peak. Like, it's just so good.
It's the commitment, though, to get far enough into the conversation that you lead. This guy who's heard your voice multiple times,
he's having to blag that he gives a fuck about this fucking free school meals or like the immigration laws or something like that. And just get off. But the presenter gets like, oh, I'm really sorry if any offence was caused by what was said. And then like in the same episode, he'll ring up again off a different number and he'll still get through. And he'll be like, fuck you, Sharon. And having a fucking breakdown.
God. You just know that Sharon probably listens as well.
Yeah.
He's furious.
Yeah, he's like, they broke up. It's her favourite show, and he's like, I'm gonna fucking ruin this show for her. He's fucking every day. Have you moved on? Not really.
Not really.
They should just get them both on One Down Air to just finally air it out. Guys, get this sorted on our show so you don't call again.
I'd watch. That'd get the eyes on it. I'd watch
like that. Do you have anything like that in Australia? Like
radio shows that are just wild?
Yeah.
Yeah, the closest thing we have to like a show that just probably shouldn't be on air still is like, it's kind of like our version of Howard Stern. The closest thing we have, like they're called Kyle and Jackie O, and they're like the biggest show on, but no one listens to radio anymore. But like the people that do, they do like naked dating, like on air. Like they get two naked people to come to the studio and they just get them to talk in air because it's radio. They just go like, yeah, so do you like her tits? and the guy's just like, yeah, no, they're good boobs. Like, and it's on at like 8 a.m. and they're like, all right, kids, anyway, like kids are in the car.
Yeah, on the way to school.
It's wild.
Yeah.
The only thing I ever saw that was something like that, it wasn't I don't know what radio show it is, but you'll have probably seen it because it hit us over here. I've seen the clip a few times, and it's this guy, like they ring up and just be like, oh, I'm going for a job interview. I've put down your number as a reference.
Yeah.
Like I don't have
I know that guy.
Really?
Who did that?
Personally. Well, yeah, the show's Hamish and Andy. So we used to do like our radio show at their radio station. They're like the biggest show in Australia. They're great, right? And I happen to know that guy who did the reference. He played for my old footy club.
No way.
Isn't
so
that
a bit
random?
of context
and it
for
went
the people
viral
that haven't
all around
seen
the
it.
world.
A radio show just rings up some guy. Have you seen it?
No, I don't know.
So he rings up some guy and just goes like, yeah, you've been put down as a reference.
He's like, I'm about to go into a job interview now. Can you, if you get a call, I've just put your number down. Can you please just tell me I'm a good bloke?
Yeah.
And the guy was like, oh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
But the guy commits to the bit, man. He's like, he says it on his resume that he speaks a few languages. Can you tell us which ones they are? And he's like, I know that he definitely speaks 2. I don't know if it's 3. Spanish and English and maybe French. I can't be sure.
And he keeps it really vague, and he doesn't break.
Nails it.
It's not necessarily giving misinformation. He's just skating around.
Yeah. And then like, he's going for an accountancy job. Like, is he good with money? And he's like, he was the treasurer at the footy club for a bit. Like, he just says vague shit. And the guy actually is a really good bloke. He's a lovely guy.
Yeah, it really sums up Australians.
That's funny that you saw that here.
Yeah, I've seen the clip like 3 times on TikTok. It's really like,
to be honest, I've seen a few Aussie radio show clips. Like, is Aussie radio big?
Yeah, I did it for like a few years, and then we just started doing podcasting because young people weren't listening. Like, I would be on stage like, give us a cheer if you listen to our radio show, and like one person would cheer. And I was like, oh, like, do you listen to it live? And they're like, oh, nah, listen to the podcast. Like,
is that what happens? The radio show gets released as a podcast?
Yeah, like we used to release it, the podcast. Like, it's just for soccer mums, like driving their kids to, football mums. I said that on stage last night because I was feeling dangerous, and they did not love that.
When you were saying footy then, did you mean Aussie rules?
Yes.
Yeah. What is it? I don't actually know.
It's like similar to like shape of a rugby ball. Yeah. And it's an oval ground, and there's like 18 people each team on the field, and you're allowed to tackle. It's complicated. You handball and kick it.
So is it similar to rugby?
Kind of, but the objective isn't to get the ball to the end of the ground. The objective is to like get the ball through the goalposts.
Okay.
So
by lashing it or kicking it?
Yeah, kicking it. Only by kicking it.
Only kicking it.
Yeah.
Just curious.
It's really complicated sport to explain.
Yeah, I mean, I don't follow much sport, to be fair.
It's something I've heard of. I just didn't know.
You shouldn't.
But it was.
You've got your own shit going on here. If you hadn't have known more about it, I would have been really concerned.
Like, do you have a life?
Yeah. It's very entertaining. Like, it's rough and it's very like, I think, but we also, rugby is still massive, but not where I'm from in Australia. Like, up the East Coast North, like New South Wales and Queensland, rugby is the only thing they care about. They don't care about Australian rules at all.
Where are you from?
I'm from Melbourne, which is the south.
Okay.
Is that nice?
We love it.
Is that bit nice?
I like it. It's nice.
Because like, so there's a comic from Scotland, not the UK, Scotland, called Daniel Sloss, and he like talks quite openly about he's class, and he talks quite openly about how much he hates Adelaide audiences. Like,
see, I think Adelaide's fine. Melbourne has pretty rough audiences. We're very like progressive,
right?
Very like Sydney and Melbourne are. People think they're above laughing at whatever you've got to say if what you're saying is a bit on the line.
Right.
So like if they're with their friends, they will just not laugh because socially that's not acceptable. But then they'll go home and giggle about it later.
Yeah, Manchester's like that, I think.
Can be a little bit.
Scotland was great. Scotland didn't give a fuck. That was awesome.
But then when you do the Fringe and you're doing those same jokes at midday on a Tuesday,
it doesn't quite fly the same.
But no, Manchester is a little bit like that. I've started running a new night in Manchester, right in the sort of where we were yesterday, right in the centre, and the first lineup was unbelievable. So Brennan Reese, who opened for you on your tour, he closed it. A guy named Danny McLaughlin opened it. He's one of the best ones in the Northwest. He's fucking great. We had two really good acts in the middle, and it was a fiver, and I hosted it. And everyone
I was one of those really good acts.
You were. You
were. Two really, really good nameless acts. You fucking piece of shit.
I completely forgot you were on, honestly.
Did you a favour, lads?
I feel like you forgot he was here.
Who's Liam?
Got lost in Manchester that night for you.
You'd be all right.
Yeah, forgot where to park my car. Never happened to me before. It was horrible, but continue with your
story. How's your car now?
So, okay, that's another story.
But we got 3 complaints. The ticket was a fiver and every act smashed it. Like, really smashed it. And we got 3 complaints.
About what jokes?
Yeah. So one of them, the main one, so there was 2 complaints about one joke that Brennan made. And about 15 minutes into his set, he was having a really...
not offensive.
Exactly. I know. Right? If anything, he's like quite progressive. Like, he makes a couple of jokes about like gay people, but this is after 5 minutes of telling everyone how much he looks like he's gay and everyone thinks he's gay and how much he supports it. Do you know what I mean? So like, even if he does say something that's a little bit on the nose, it's like prefaced so much prior. But he's like 15 minutes in, he discovers that there's a dog in the room and he goes, "Oh, hold the dog up, let us see." And then when she holds it up, he just goes, "Kill it!"
Oh, he told me about this.
And 3 people complained.
Yeah,
he's tried to kill the dog.
He got a message about it on Instagram afterwards.
Really? Because I've not seen Brennan since that night.
And he's like, I got into arguing with her on Instagram, and I was like, "Don't reply." He's like, "I know." He goes, "I just felt like I needed to explain myself." I was like, "Dude, that person cannot be reasoned with. Don't rationalize with a lunatic."
Oh my god, yeah, because we had a drink, Brian and I and Beth as well, my girlfriend. We all had a drink afterwards, and we were just chatting. He said he was supporting you. Like over
he
the next
told me
few
about
days.
this. Clearly, still very impressed about it.
You would be though.
But like, it was just, I said to her, I was like, "What?" Because she was kicking off outside. It wasn't like, "Oh, it just really bothered me what you said." She was kicking off with the manager outside. And she was like, "Oh, he threatened to kill the dog." So like, what do you do with that? Like, what the fuck do you do with that? Like, she came over to us afterwards to just have a little bit of a chat and stuff. Didn't mention that she was annoyed in any way.
Does show
Brennan gave the dog a fuss and like was playing with the dog.
That's it. The dog's not asked either. The dog's asked. The dog doesn't want to be there.
It shows you do have a problem with knives, though. Here, like in the sense that a comedian says, "I will kill your dog," and the possibility of that happening is high.
So high.
Like in Australia, if you were like, "I'm going to kill your dog," they'd be like, "With what? With what weapon?" Like, You know, we don't have guns. No one carries knives.
I love the implication.
We just punch on sometimes.
I love the implication that you couldn't kill a dog with your bare hands.
Yeah.
It's got to be a knife.
It's like fucking this big. It's like I couldn't just do
It's
it.
just, it depends how big the dog is. Like,
If there was a lineup of UK comics who could like potentially kill a dog, the last person I'm pointing to is Brennan as well.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
There's a few people I probably would point at.
Brennan would take the dog home. He would take it off of Dave Longley and he would nurture the dog. That's what would happen. Dave
He would
Longley's
kill
like
it
a
with
fucking-
kindness.
Yeah. He would hold the dog. He would keep the dog afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just so ridiculous. What do you do with that though? Like you can't. Those people can't be helped. You shouldn't be at a show. And like I hate how everyone starts about how people are just offended by everything these days because I don't believe that that's true.
No, I don't believe that's
I
true
don't
either.
believe it's true at all. I feel like some people are just like some comics will go out and they'll joke about things with no nuance. They'll do it terribly, and that's why people are pissed off because you just sound like a knobhead. Daniel Sloss actually has a great line about that. It's like you can joke about anything if you're good at it.
And he's
but
great
so
at
many
it.
aren't. Yeah, exactly.
But no, people do get pressed about stuff he says in Australia, like at the festivals and stuff, because
Really,
the festivals are very like progressive. But he's great. Also, he doesn't need that.
No,
like,
he's doing the festival as a favor to you guys. Like,
yeah. Like anyway, but he's great. But I feel like a lot of people just, as you said, like they're just not good. But also, like sometimes when I do a joke and it's like you see the audience react, you go, okay, maybe I never go, oh, that's on you. I'm like, I need to look internally here, and justify why am I saying this every night?
Yeah.
You guys don't.
Why
like,
am I saying this
You guys don't
every
like race stuff here, because we're very multicultural, especially in Melbourne.
Right.
And like I have a joke like where I do like an Indian accent and it crushes in Melbourne because like all
they
the
won't go for that here.
Indian people like love it in Australia. They're like, oh my god, like I feel represented. This is great. Like, and here I've been doing it. No, not a fan. I stopped doing it.
So there's some acts that get away with it in front of their crowd and stuff, like Have a Word, you're doing their podcast soon and stuff. Like they do a lot of accent-based stuff, and it will be, you know, like the Asian accents and stuff like that. And they get away with it because everyone knows that there's no malice there. But sometimes if you just go and do like to people that you don't know you,
So you even saw the bit about Kim Jong-un. I have like 10 minutes about Kim Jong-un being, I just call him fat for 10 minutes. And the joke is that you can say whatever you want about someone if they're an awful person.
Yeah.
I'm like, if they kill their own people, game on, right?
Yeah.
But I did that joke about him eating dogs. I was like, you are what you eat. That's why he's a fucking dog or whatever. And just last night in Manchester, people just like so
Was that at both
horrified.
shows or just the early?
Yeah, mainly the early. The end did alright. But like in Australia,
Like,
like,
he
that goes
paused
great.
and went,
Like that gets an applause break in Australia, which shows that that's more of an our problem. I realised.
Yeah.
I was like, that says a lot about Australia, not here.
It's a big societal thing. I think people are genuinely like scared. Like, that's all. I think it comes from fear. Do you know, just because like doing an accent is interpreted by so many as you taking the piss out of an entire group of people.
But that's fine. But
it's not necessarily.
No, but it is over the line. Like that's the thing. That's kind of
just depends.
It's just a joke. It's just
exactly.
like I mean, I do. I'm not going to say I don't mean any malice behind it. I do.
You do to Kim Jong-un.
But it's about Kim Jong-un. So it's like, if you're not laughing
you
at
get a
that,
pass.
are you defending him?
But also, like, if Kim Jong-un was there, he wouldn't be grateful that Liam's defended him to Luke. He would kill Liam. Like, do you know what I mean?
He would kill everyone in the room for being there in the presence of that joke.
This episode's brought to you by the North Korean Tourism Board. We're not talking about this anymore.
Yeah.
We've got merch. Finally, we've got merch.
We've been talking about doing this for ages and we've finally made it happen. We've got our own online store at spreadnegativitypod.com. We're selling t-shirts with logos. We're selling queefs. Whatever you want, we've got it.
We're selling queefs in a jar if you want one. We've got beanies, mugs, phone cases, loads of stuff like that, so check it out. But if you do order something, and I cannot stress this enough, order one size up. I'm a large to extra large in most things. I've got a 2XL in this. Liam, you'll notice, doesn't even have a hoodie yet because they're still making his out of a bed sheet, right? Proper nightmare stuff.
Check us out, spreadnegativitypod.com. If there's anything that you want and you don't see, let us know. We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, we'll sort it out. And we will get better at these adverts as time goes on. Features?
Bring them.
Features, lovely stuff. So we asked listeners to send things in, or like little things, just like worst moment of their life, worst thing that's ever happened to them, or the worst thing they've ever done, or something like that. Because we're just full of joy, right? If you do want to send something in, spreadnegativitypod@gmail.com. We'd really appreciate it.
You really are doing your best to spread negativity. You're going out of your way.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
Like,
you got to
so-
laugh at it.
They're like, send us your most pessimistic story, guys, and we'll talk about it for 6 minutes.
Tell us why your dad left. Because Aaron can relate, right? So Ben Sutton says, oh my God. Hey, Aaron and Liam, just recently started listening to the pod and I love it. Wanted to write in to tell you about the single worst moment of my entire life. Appreciate it, Ben.
Just strapping in.
A few years back, I was seeing an ex-girlfriend, for reasons that will become obvious. Things had got pretty stale in the bedroom and we thought we'd try to spice it up with a little bit of bum play. This was her suggestion and I was obviously keen. This was until I found out that the bum she wanted to play with was in fact mine. After being so noticeably excited when she suggested it, I couldn't then say no after finding out the reality. Long story short, we start off pretty slow and she's putting a digit in there. So graphic.
I'm in.
That's what she said to him. Nothing too crazy, and I discover I actually quite like it. Then she moves on to a vibrator she has, and again, I actually quite like it. Then the worst thing I could think of happens, and my ass sucks the vibrator up inside me while it was still on.
Oh.
It literally just disappears. Panic.
Just took it.
I guess.
Just took it.
I wasn't there, mate. Panic sets in and I'm running around the bedroom with no idea what to do. I thought about
running. That wouldn't be my first instinct. Oh, vibrator at my ass. Let's go for a jog.
Like a cat that gets hit with a stone or something, just starts legging it.
What if he's a bit faster though?
Yeah.
Should it be like nitrous oxide, I guess?
Yeah, maybe Olympians should consider it.
Yeah.
Performance enhancing dillies.
Yeah. Don't need electrolytes. Get an electric vibrator.
Usain Bullet. Oh God! I thought about going to A&E, but that just wasn't an option. In the end, I have to bend over. In the end, I have to bend over, drown my hand in lube, and have to fist it out of myself.
Oh.
The pain was not ideal, and I could barely sit down for a week. Me and my girlfriend broke up shortly after, but I get it. It's hard to imagine a life with someone you've watched fist themselves. Absolute worst experience of my life, and I've watched my mum die.
Oh. Just really threw that one in the air.
Wasn't the single worst moment of his life either.
God, that thing at the end was like when you put like a coin next to something to give it perspective of how big it is.
Oh my God.
Shit.
Flared bases only though, man. Like rookie move. You know what I mean? Gotta have a little flared base there.
He did what he...
I love how...
Tapered.
Like, you couldn't waterboard that information out of me. I can't get over, like, how many people will just confess things anonymously to podcasts that they wouldn't tell their friend.
It's not anonymous, it's called Ben Sutton.
As well, though, and enjoy. Like, they'll listen back and go, and enjoy.
Hey, it's mine this week. They're doing mine. Babe, come in.
It's talking about the time I fisted my own hole. God.
Yeah, I don't know how this happens to you and then you write into a podcast. Like, because there's so many men out there now and they're just like, the NHS takes ages to get therapy. So they're just using fucking straight white male podcasts to get things off their chest.
I'm glad they did. They're spreading awareness because your instinct would be hospital.
Mate, he was spreading more than awareness.
Yeah. Spreading blood all over his fucking bathroom by the sounds of it.
But he did it himself, and I think that's to be admired because the embarrassment of not just going to A&E, the fucking waiting. You know what the NHS is like nowadays, you know what I mean? You don't want to put yourself through that waiting room.
Don't want to be sat there
like you're clearing for takeoff.
Some kids next to you with a broken arm. She's like, what's that? He's like, don't worry about it.
They're going to hear you coming. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, there's no needles or anything. It's just fucking...
I thought you meant like he's coming in the waiting room.
Oh, no, not hearing me literally coming.
I can't fucking keep it in.
I mean, it depends. You sound into it, so...
No, but you got to get it out yourself by any means necessary.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just don't know. I couldn't go and be like, oh, what's the problem? You're just like holding your arsehole, just like, oh... something's happened because you hear all these stories and stuff.
It must happen a lot.
Every time like a compare will speak to like someone that works in A&E or something like, oh, what's the weirdest thing someone's had stuck inside them? And it's quite a hacky question that everyone always asks, and you do hear some horrific stories like, oh, this guy had an action man stuck up there, and you're like, oh no. It's horrible.
People just have too much time on their hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't know what to do with it. So they just stick shit up my ass, see how it goes.
This just in, Luke Kidgell, not a fan of butt stuff. Not a fan of bum play.
So is the goal of this, are we supposed to give him advice, or are we just supposed to laugh at him?
Just laugh at him.
There's no problem. Just solve the problem.
Yeah. Sometimes they ask for advice and they sort of say like, oh, who's the knobhead in this situation? Having an argument. But yeah, I don't really... He's just telling us about it.
I don't think he's a knobhead in the situation.
No, I don't think he is either. But like, my point is, sometimes that's what people write in for. They're like, I've had this argument. Who's the knobhead? He's just telling us a story. Yeah. He's
just wanted to tell someone.
I want to know. Does he
sucked it up though?
Has he done it since?
No.
Has he got like PTSD?
That is enough to traumatize you. Yeah, fuck that. I have a very strict around the outside rule with the bumhole.
Oh, really?
It's quite nice to have a tickle on the bumhole. Do you know what I mean? I'm a millennial. I'm happy to speak about these things. I'm not ashamed. But if you breach that fucking barrier, it's not good.
You're a coward.
A coward?
You're a coward.
Yeah, I'll probably. I have a say. Okay, there. Yeah. You know, I'll have a fingernail, but it has to be trimmed, and I have to be clean, and it's in the shower. You know, like I do have parameters. You know,
we have quite a small shower.
So many boxes to tick. But they never get boxed.
Preferred. You know, I'm like, you know,
a tickle. That's the
we
best.
Have such a small shower that the only way I could do it in the shower was, if I was stood in the shower and then I just had my ass outside of the shower, and she was sat outside. Do you know what I mean?
Like, uninterested and stuff like that.
Just on her phone, just looking.
Yeah, that's vanilla, guys.
Luke Kidgell's posted a new video, babe. There's a lady with Tourette's again.
For the 10th time.
Yeah. Oh, fucking hell.
Me.
Yeah, right, I'm like Elmo in the bedroom. Tickles only. That's my rule. I like that.
I like that.
Elmo in the bedroom? Is that the episode title?
Maybe. It might just be.
We'll have Elmo with like a doctor's glove behind you in the thumbnail.
Oh, fucking hell. Right, should we do another one? Alex Daly says, hey lads, seen this going around online and I want to know your take on it. You find out someone in your friendship group has committed a horrific crime. Would it be worse to discover that the crime is murder or sexual assault? Nice one, Alex.
Nice one.
So basically the question is, would you rather be pals with a serial killer or a sexual abuser?
Question.
Thanks for keeping it nice and light there, Alex. Appreciate it.
Are we helping them cover up the crime?
No, you're just friends with them, I think.
Here's the thing. I don't think there's ever any excuse for a sexual assault.
Agreed.
But murder can be justified.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe if there was a crazy reason as to why you could justify being friends with a murderer.
Yeah.
It'd have to be a good reason.
I don't even think it's a maybe.
What do you mean?
I just think like if one. So when you say you're being friends with a murderer, just like befriending someone who's. But if one of your like dead close
I wouldn't
friends,
befriend someone who I didn't know post murder. I wouldn't be like, let's be friends.
Yeah.
But if you had a
I've seen the
history,
headlines, and I just think you're a really cool guy.
yeah.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. You know what I mean? And what you're putting down is a lot of people. Can I just be honest, Liam? Having been on your stag do, I'm pretty sure you're friends with both.
Yeah, I mean, and it's one person that ticks both boxes.
Okay, what if we changed it though? Because like, murder can be justified.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, totally. Like someone's hurt your child. Do you know what I mean? Like someone's done something. Like someone's like assaulted your partner or something. So there's a reason that you could go to that place.
It's probably not the best course of action.
No,
but
of course
you can understand.
But, like, I can understand how someone got there. You've killed my kid.
I like how you felt the need to justify that, like state that to Aaron in case he did like use that to justify a murder. It's probably not the best.
I don't know what vibe I'm putting out there, but you had to preface it with
just the career's starting to go well. And
consider your options.
Just I don't want to be that guy, but also, guys, hey, not a murderer. Just want to put that out into the universe.
Well, we've got the soundbite.
Out of context, not a great clip.
Just in case you were wondering. No, but like, if it's a serial killer, that's a lot less justified, isn't it? You know what I mean?
I didn't even think about that because I just think you instantly think your friends, and I think one of my friends, if one of my friends had killed someone, I know it would be justified because none of them are psychopaths. And I actually think, I think I'd help them cover it up.
Oh.
Ride or Die. I've been listening to hip hop since I was a kid.
Damn, you're like British Vin Diesel.
Yeah, the family. It's all
Yeah.
about
Illumi
family.
Familia.
Yeah.
It's going to get you a Corona next week.
I take a bullet for the homies and I dish one out as well.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So yeah, what do you reckon? I mean, it's obvious, isn't it?
Murder.
Yeah.
It's just obvious. I don't even know why this is a question.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. who
What is
says
that person trying to confess?
I don't think they're trying to confess anything. I
You
think they're
just
trying
know-
to destroy us.
They're like
Yeah.
asking for a friend.
Cool. I feel like that's it.
I didn't know how to
Yeah, I don't really know how to
bring
end
that one in for a landing.
Yeah,
Not a murderer.
no.
I agree. Would be pretty bold to sit there and be like, I don't know.
Have you got any friends?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple. Yeah, none of them, I don't think they've murdered anyone.
Sick.
But I don't know. Like, you're very loyal to your friends. I'm now
Yeah,
reconsidering
ride or
a lot
die.
of friendships. I'm like, I don't know if I'd help
Yeah,
them
I don't have
cover it
that
up.
in me.
I've got a weird, like, we've been, like, my friendship group is quite, like, we've been friends since we were kids, like, and we still keep in, like, regular touch, and that's quite rare. Like, I
It's
think.
honestly.
I wouldn't snitch, but I wouldn't help them cover it up. I'd be like, good luck, you know?
I'm sorry to hear about
Yeah.
it, mate. Shut the door.
I'd be like, fly to Peru now. Just change your identity.
Fly to North Korea, they'll love you there.
Yeah. Yeah, just get out of here, man. That's what
man.
I would do.
Yeah, I don't think I've stopped being friends with people just for such mundane reasons. I don't think like that wouldn't be one that keeps me there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're obsessed with Marmite, that nearly made me stop being pals
It's
with
not an
you.
obsession. I just think it gets a bad rep.
Yeah, we've been over it. We'd have to go.
No,
into
we will.
it.
You're Aussie. Vegemite, what do you think of it?
I'm not a fan of Vegemite. We do have Marmite as well. It's also not. It's not very popular, but I don't like it.
I feel like every time we have someone from the same ethnicity, not ethnicity, same country on, like we just talk about the same fucking things. Like Thomas Green was on. I mentioned him
And you
to
talked about Vegemite.
and we talked about Vegemite and thongs and the shoes, not the.
In New Zealand, I said the word thongs on stage, thinking like, yeah, it's the same country. They'll get it. They stared at me like they in disbelief. They call them jandals.
What?
Yeah,
way worse.
Jandals!
I was just as surprised as you were. I was like, but you're, I guess, like
And
a
you're the
4-hour
dickhead.
flight away. What are you doing? But it's because it's like you call, coolers, like drink coolers.
Yeah.
Do you call them? You call them coolers.
We don't really like. I don't think you have a.
You guys just put a
Ice
drink
bucket?
outside and it's fine.
Yeah.
You don't have
You don't
no
really
need.
need it, yeah.
But we call them Eskies because it was a brand of cooler and the brand was called Eskies. But now every cooler we just call them Eskies.
Okay.
And apparently that's what they've done with so there was a brand of flip flops
Called Jandals. Yeah.
and now they just call them all of them Jandals.
I thought Eskies was like an Eskimo slur when you first said it. Like keeps it cold, Eskies, Eskimos. That's where I thought you were going with that.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone try to slur an Eskimo. That's just like, imagine punching down someone who lives in an igloo. I think actually,
So deep.
there's no
You know
one-
what, these fucking Eskies coming over here.
Eskies.
Stealing our eating.
I've never are they even like a race?
I don't know. I actually think the word Eskimo's a slur now. I think it's in
no,
you.
but an Eskimo,
Yeah.
isn't an Eskimo just someone who lives in the north? Like, I don't know. Like, where do they live? Like the North Pole? No, that's Santa.
Honestly, I'm just as ignorant. I don't
Yeah.
have a fucking clue.
By the way, Santa sounds so good in your accent. So again,
Santa.
Santa.
Is that what we
How do you say it?
say? Other words.
You
like-
say Santa. Okay. To me, I just hear the same thing.
Yeah, you just say, I have this like real like speech impediment where I can't pronounce TH. And I remember when I was with like an ex-girlfriend, like her mum and dad just would not let it go. So if I say the number 3 and also this item is free, it sounds the same.
Yeah.
And like people like
You're not
have
hitting
picked
the
up-
H.
Yeah, but I don't like. I'm just like what you're saying. Like if you say the both of them back to back, I can't.
People-
they sound so like they sound exactly the same to me.
I have a problem with everyone who listens to our podcast back in Australia hate 2 things. Well, they had a lot of things about me, but just two things I say. His and his. I just use them interchangeably.
They're not
Like,
the two-
like
it
he
sounded
is,
like you said the same words.
right.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Okay. He is like his, like he's an idiot. He is an idiot. Or I'm going to his house. I say them the same.
Yeah, it sounded exactly the same
But
to
like
me.
if you do what I meant, don't
But do
be a
you
dick
say
about it.
them differently?
I'd say he's and his.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like,
that's correct.
but like, if he said that, we would know what he meant. So let's just not be a dick about it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't stand it. Like, it was such a fucking contentious topic with my ex-girlfriend's mum. Like, she was obsessed with trying to teach me, and I'm like, but you knew what I meant because I went 1, 2, 3, and you weren't looking for the numbers that didn't cost anything. Like, what are you talking about? Let's just move on and stop making me feel uncomfortable in your house.
There was a big necklace debate on our podcast as well. I did this prank where my co-host Lewis had this. I called it a necklace that he loves, and I thought
your podcast was called Luke and Meg.
I used to do one called Luke and Lewis.
Right.
That was our radio show.
I thought you were just like not giving Lewis any second fucking attention at all.
No.
He's like, he just sits in the corner. He's like, yeah, we just don't give him the name.
Luke and Meg is like a new one.
Right.
And yeah, like, how do you guys say?
What did you say?
I say necklace.
Necklace. I'd just say necklace.
Yeah,
necklace,
everyone says necklace. And I've been noticing I say it in my show in a joke, and the crowd looks at each other. They look at each other like, did he just say
it like that? Yeah.
Hey, it's a lace around your neck.
That's a fair point, to be fair.
I was just going to say,
that.
like, so many. The English language is so fucked. So fucked. Like, people make TikTok videos all the time about how, like, certain words mean different things, but they're the same fucking word. And I can't give an example now because I'm on the spot, but that's a perfect example. Like laces, neck laces. Do you know what I mean? Like, but laces on your feet. Do you know, like,
but it's spelt necklace.
Yeah.
But I'm saying it like it's 2 words. I understand the problem.
Yeah, but like,
I'm saying it like there's a pause in between, like it's hyphenated.
We say it like you're missing a neck.
Yeah.
Necklace.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, yeah.
Because that sounds like how a New Zealand person would say necklace. Like,
right.
I'm necklace. I got no neck. You know?
Philip was peaked. Luke took 40 minutes to wake up with his New Zealand bands. Oh, fucking hell. Right. Fuck, mate. If you're new to the podcast that you're watching because Luke's on, first of all, thanks. We really appreciate it. And we do a section at the end called Off Your Chest, where we invite the guest or a listener or anyone really to get something off their chest. So, Luke, do you have anything you want to get off your chest?
I got
Anything?
heaps. This is a controversial take.
I feel like we should have done this 20 minutes ago. He's got loads, actually.
Yeah, there's 2 minutes left, and I've got 20 minutes of stuff to unpack about the UK. No, it's not about the UK. The first time I've ever driven an electric car has been here because they didn't have the hire car that we ordered. So they gave us it's called like a Polestar. I don't know, is that a good car?
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it, no.
Neither had I.
That's the brand.
They were like,
Polestar.
oh, we're going to get you a Tesla or a Polestar, whatever comes in first. And I'm like, please be a Tesla. And then they're like, all right, the Polestar's just arrived. We're like, fuck. And dude, it's terrible. We drove from Edinburgh to like Leeds. It's like 3 hours, 45 minutes. It didn't last the whole way.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Purely electric, yeah.
And I don't know, it's just like so inconvenient. And then they take forever to charge. Like we're pulling over and that takes like an hour to charge.
Fuck off, really, yeah.
And you're like...
So they were really trying to sell electric cars to us like 3-4 years ago because it was free to charge them. Not
it's
the number
really
free,
expensive
free.
As well.
Free as in it didn't cost anything. But yeah, it was free to charge them, and so it just didn't cost anything. And everyone was going, buy these electric cars because fuel's insane. And now it's like it's just the cost pretty much the same.
Yeah,
to,
because the
to charge
Lecky's
it.
gone like sky high.
Yeah, it was really expensive to charge it. It was like
it's like
50 quid to like do like 75% of its charge.
They're proper trying to force it. It's like they're creating clean air zones in the UK where like if you drive in a non-electric vehicle, you have to pay like a toll just for being in that area. I mean, I have quite like my car's 2017, so I don't have to pay that, but it's only a matter of time before I probably will.
I in Birmingham on Saturday night. When I saw you Friday. We get to go Friday. And then, I was in Birmingham on Saturday, and they have a clean air zone there. And I had to check whether or not mine was eligible because I didn't really know how it works. I don't really have them in Manchester. Mine's fine because it's more recent.
You guys love a bit of red tape here, like just a bit of like admin that's
rules
quite
and structure.
Unnecessary.
Yeah, you're right though.
Well,
it's such a ball ache.
Apparently, if it only applies if you've got a petrol car that's older than 2005 or something like that.
It makes sense.
But that's insane though, because it's like 20 quid a day, and it's like if you've got a car that's older than 2005, you don't want that car. You can't afford a new one. Do you know what I mean? No one wants a car from 2002, and you're charging these people £20 a day just to go into work. It's just keeping the people at the bottom down at the bottom, and it drives
and
me
they're
crazy.
being like, oh, the environment's the reason. It's a nice. The initial idea was correct. At least you are trying to do something about the climate. Australia's biggest export is mining. We're just fucking the world, you know. And then we're like, oh, but we recycle. And you're like, yeah, everyone does. But like, there's apartment buildings in Australia that don't do recycling. Yeah. Still.
Really? I gigged with a comic recently, and it was one of those sort of older comics that, you know, really appeals to the older generation. And
just talk about Greta for 40 minutes.
Literally. Yeah. But he went up and he was like, everyone's talking about global warming, and after 50 years on the planet, I would quite like for a bit. I feel like we've earned a bit of sunshine. Do you know what I mean? And I was in the back, like trying not to be a typical Gen Z offended little bell end, but I was like, you don't understand how global warming works because it's snowing in March. It doesn't just get hotter everywhere. We have 4 of the most ridiculous seasons, which is why last year it was like 42 degrees in the summer and we couldn't deal with it.
It's why it's
and
called
now it's
climate change.
Yeah. But like he hears global warming and he's like, warming, fantastic.
Sick.
And it got me so heated because I was like, it's literally forecast snowing. Like we have like 5 inches of snow next week.
But that ruins his premise, man.
Yeah, it ruins the bit. Why apply some logic? And I know that he probably knows that, but in my mind I was like, this guy's a fucking idiot. And then everyone clapped and applauded. And I was like, you guys are all fucking idiots too. I'm at the back freezing because it's fucking, oh man.
And the other one was the people in London are very condescending towards us Australians.
It's not just yous. It's anyone north of the fucking, anyone outside of the M6. They have a motorway that surrounds them. What is it? The M something or other? I don't fucking know. Outside of that circle.
This is why they hate us.
It's like the world doesn't exist outside of that circle to them. Yeah,
they just were like fascinated. The Uber driver. I was talking about this on stage, but like the guy, the first person I met in your country was the Uber driver, and he's like, oh mate, do you guys have he goes, just their Tesla factory, right? Do you guys have the Tesla factory? And I'm like, oh yeah, we have Teslas back in Australia. He's like, and he was shocked. He was like, oh really? And then
third world.
Yeah, and he's like, we have these nasty little things, mate, red light cameras. Do you guys have red light cameras? I'm like, yeah. And then I just started to like piss him off. Like I was just like trying to make him angry. I was like, he started giving me directions, and he's like, he's like, you go left down there, take a right. And I'm like, oh, man, I get it. He's like, he goes, have you been to London before? I was like, no, I watched Harry Potter on the flight. And he was not a fan there. He didn't laugh at all. He was like, he goes, you know what's fake, mate? And I was like, yeah. I was like, whatever, muggle. Anyway, I was like, and then he started to give us food recommendations, and we're in an Uber. I cannot stress that enough. And he's like, we've got this new little thing. If you don't want to leave your accommodation, mate, it's on the app. It's called Uber Eats, right? He's like, do you guys have Uber Eats back in Australia? I'm like, we're in a fucking Uber. And he's like, yeah, but you have the little app. I'm like, how do you think I booked you? Man, I was so angry, right?
I'm not surprised.
And I've thought about it for a week.
I'm not surprised.
He's moved on with his life, and I'm still talking about it. That's sad.
You had another bit on stage, which obviously we won't talk about, but like you went to the theatre, and like you said something that really made me laugh, because like this woman just did something when they were at the theatre. It was a bit fucking stupid or whatever, but like she doesn't know now that in every city in this country she's talked about for 10 minutes, and everyone's just
talk about this woman that she has no idea who I am. She's walking around London living her life, probably oblivious to the fact that there's like comedy clubs in Manchester just dying laughing at her. It's good.
Did it sort of like give you a sister your first time in the UK?
Yes.
So when you were in London, were you like, oh, this is going to be a fucking slog, this? Or, do you know what I mean? Did it inform your opinion of the UK, and then you started?
Well, I thought London would be like that, and then as soon as I went north, I was like, this is where, like, everyone was like, you'll love it north. Like, no one in Australia goes, you'll love London. They go, dude, you'll love it. The crowds up north, they're great.
Yeah.
And I'm sure London's going to be great, but it's just, you know,
it's different.
They live in they've all got a place to be. It's kind of, I've been to Manhattan before, and it's like one of those cities where everyone's looking at their phone, everyone has a place to be, no one's just hanging out.
Yeah.
They're all there for a reason.
Right, actually, I've never thought about it like that, but it is very hustle and bustle, just like take no prisoners, fucking.
Everyone's
getting on this
got
train.
to go somewhere immediately. No one's sitting and looking at the fucking.
But it's a city with like, what, 20 million people or something, so that's fair.
Yeah, you said something that like blew my mind. You won't know this either. If he does 1,000 seats in a town in Australia, he's hit like, what is it, like 1% of that town have come to see you or something? Like the population like 50k or something.
Yes, but people from like, I'll do places where there's like 50,000 people that live in the place. But then there's surrounding towns that's like where they go to the shops.
Yeah.
Because like they live in the outback, so they were willing to drive like an hour to 45 minutes. It's just like along a freeway. So you get
Crazy.
So like I'll do shows like it's just weird because you do shows like every hour, or sometimes even every half an hour. I've looked at your tour, like Adam Rowe and stuff, guys who are touring big tours here. They'll do like Bradford and Leeds, and it's like half an hour away.
Yeah,
right?
Far.
That's because there's just that many people.
Well, I've only just started doing that. I'm doing suburbs of Melbourne now, but like usually it's like every 4 hours up the coast because there's nothing in between.
It's like a focal point where that'll draw.
It's just trees. Like there's nothing in between.
You think with the size of Australia as well, but it's not that populated, is it?
Our country has 27 million people, and London has 20 million people.
It's absolutely insane.
Oh, we might be at 28 now, but I don't know.
Yeah. It's all coastal, am I right in thinking, though, the major cities?
Pretty much the East Coast is where everyone is, and then like Perth is the most isolated city in the world.
Yeah.
I really want to go. I really want to do the Fringe because I hate cold weather, and also my birthday is January, so I just think like going over like around this time when the Fringe is on. I'm going to do it over the next couple of years for sure. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's great. It's Australia's great for comedy.
Yeah.
But it's very spread out.
I was going to say, is it a slog getting?
Yeah, like you got to fly everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or,
I don't want to be like dead
4
hacky, but
hours.
like the thing I'm so scared of is just like the spiders though, man. Like it's so hacky to have an Australian on and be like, oh, the spiders. But like I swear to God, if there was one there, I would probably cry.
But there's not all of them will kill you. It's like
okay, that's all right then.
Yeah.
That's sad, not all of them.
But
That's like Liam introducing his friendship group.
But I've never met any.
Not all of them will. So just maim or injure.
But I've never met anyone that's like died. I've met people that have been like stung on, like stepped on jellyfish and been stung by stingers. That's probably more common in the water. But stinger season is a thing, so you just don't really swim where the stingers.
Where the sea tries to kill you.
Yeah.
The whole season dedicated to the sea going, hey, fuck off, mate. Don't come near me, mate.
We were swimming in a place called Cairns 2 days before the nets dropped. So they have nets that drop in the water.
Right.
And when the water gets to a certain temperature, the stingers come in. And I was there with like a local guy that's up there. I'm not from there. And I was like, you sure we're supposed to be swimming? He's like, yeah, mate, they won't be in here for like another 48 hours. And I'm like, I feel like we're cutting it pretty far.
That's insane.
Yeah, I wanted like a week-long buffer between me and the stingers. Fuck, man. Yeah, I'm just... I've heard, like obviously, like in the cities, they're not as common and stuff, but like...
No, I think people think they're going to come to Australia and there's going to be kangaroos jumping around the CBD.
There was a
Carrying
meme, it's like the
blades.
British perception of Australia, and it was just like the biggest spider on top of your house. Just like, don't come fucking here. You're not coming home today. And it's like
True,
fucking,
though?
like, literally the size of the room.
I did used to work at a golf club where there'd be like hundreds of kangaroos just watching me every shift.
They're all
Like,
on
so-
steads as well, aren't they? They're all fucking jacked.
No, the ones you see people fighting on the internet are. Most of them.
How did you know his algorithm?
I saw a man fight once to protect his dog, and it was like fucking fronting him like that, proper chest on him.
But those ones, like, there's big red kangaroos, but most of the ones that, like, where I live in Victoria, like grey kangaroos, and they're like small.
Pussy holes.
Yeah, they just eat grass. they chill.
I'd seen a grey kangaroo.
Oh, fuck me, man. Well, this has been loads of fun, Luke. Thanks so much for coming on, man.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for having me.
Our biggest guest by some margin, so we really appreciate your time.
Thank
have you got anything you want to plug? Sounds so ridiculous. The juxtaposition of that. You're our biggest guest. Now plug your...
Now use our
now plug your
platform.
Instagram.
Listen to spreading negativity.
Yeah.
No,
Plug us.
I don't know. No, I bet there'll be heaps of people. I had no idea who I am. No one knows who I am here. So I'll be back next year doing a tour, and I'll love to see you there.
Sick. And it's just Luke Kidgell on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all that good stuff, Twitter and...
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't use Twitter in Australia.
No.
I think my last tweet was Twitter, I'm all like shitter. And then I never used it again. I pinned it and then fucked off. Literally no one uses it in Australia.
Fucking hell. Well, follow Luke on Twitter. You're going to go back on Twitter in like fucking 15 years and that tweet's going to have 8 million likes. You're like, fuck, I should have stayed.
I don't think I even posted about my tour on there. That's how insignificant the following is. I just forgot to post about my tour on Twitter.
I can't cope with like, put all your thoughts on there all the time.
Nah.
Like, it's because some acts in the UK, like they tweet 45 times a day and I'm just like, I don't know.
How?
Yeah, it's my least favourite.
I don't have that many thoughts.
We've got like 200 followers on Twitter and we just don't try on there.
No.
Like, we probably should really because Twitter's great for podcasting.
If they're
like,
going to start doing videos, I will.
like-
But until then, I'm not going to bother.
Yeah, it needs to be like reels or
Yeah.
we're talking fucking boring stuff now.
I like it.
We're just talking.
I like
we're
it.
just talking about the stuff that the listeners don't give a fuck about.
I know what you mean.
But yeah, thanks so much for coming on, man. If for those of you who don't know, you probably already will because obviously it's at the top of the episode. But I'm doing work in progress shows. 18th of May in Manchester, 25th of May in Liverpool, 4th of June in London. And I've just announced. I say just announced. It's not been announced yet, but I'm doing one in Llandudno. After us having beef there, and that's on like the 30th of April. All links are in my Instagram bio. Check it out. We'd really appreciate it. Luke, give us 3 things that you hate.
Electric cars. That's that's going to age really poorly. Marmite and Vegemite.